How's it going, guys? Hope you're doing better than what it appears everyone thinks the market's doing. And is everyone feeling comfortable? Everyone feeling good about what's going on in the market? Evidently not, because when I Google just sports card market, I'm seeing crash, crash, crashing, declining, corrections, crash, correction. So it's on and on. You know, the market's crashing or the market's going down, time to panic. Just a lot of videos. So thought I would kind of do a little video about, what stage of grief has the sports card market reached, guys? Where are we at? There's typically five stages to grief, and so I think the sports card market has definitely reached past the first stage. So what are the five stages? Well, it's denial, anger, depression, bargaining, and acceptance. And I think, depending on who you are and where your position in the market is, you might be at, each one of these stages, obviously. I don't think anyone's gone to acceptance yet. I think we're all in the first four stages at some level, but I'm going through them and, just kind of see where you think you are, and I'll kind of go through where I think the market is. So, denial. So I think we've already mostly moved past denial. Now, I see denial still in a lot of posts and people talking about, you know, that it's not a crash, it's a correction, and this is nothing like the '90s. So that's a lot of denial, right?
For example, drinking alcohol excessively, but they deny they have any type of problem.
You deny that it's actually happening. Everything's fine. The market's fine. It's just a few cards here and there. And if you really look at the broader picture, we're seeing it in vintage, we're seeing it in modern, we're seeing even somewhat wax prices softening. Yes, it's across the board that there is a correction, something happening pricing wise across most all categories, right? So I think we've kind of moved past. Most people have moved past denying that something is happening, right? Something bad is happening to pricing, right? It's not like it was before where everything was to the moon, and smell you later. We're way past thinking that everything is back. It's going to go back to that straight line, approach to pricing where everything's going up, right? So now I think we're seeing anger, and I'm really seeing the anger in a lot of the comments on YouTube videos now.
These are my kind of people.
Whereas you got some folks saying it's a correction, and some people are saying, buy the dip, and you're getting, just like you're an idiot, this is the time to buy, this is how you make money, you go in hard when everything is down, and yeah, so that's what we're seeing, and I've got a video coming up later about risk management because that's what I do for a living. I boil my job down to as a pretty high level risk manager, and what I'm seeing from the anger side of it is people haven't properly done the risk management strategy and really around portfolio building, and that's where I see a lot of the anger coming from. It's just not properly deflecting their own risk, and so there's people angry. They're just like, hey, this is you guys are panicking, you guys are idiots, and a lot of that's happening. Depression, like I do think I'm seeing depression in a lot of ways. I'm seeing YouTubers putting out less videos. I'm not seeing the enthusiasm that you once saw for the market, and there's less content that isn't I call like parroting content. A lot of the content I'm seeing now is just parroting exactly the same content everyone else is doing. And so eBay just put out an email about how they're going to restrict people from taking away bids, that kind of thing, where I saw like 20 videos on that email from eBay. Well, if you're on eBay, you got the email. So if you sell sports cards on eBay, you got an email about canceling bids. So you didn't really need to be notified about that, but that turned into 20, 30, I don't know how many YouTube videos. There's quite a few. And that's what's kind of happening. Instead of having real news, real talk, real things to talk about in the hobby, we're just now into this like any negative information becomes a YouTube video because the hobby itself is kind of depressing. It's not a lot of fun stuff to talking about. The NBA playoffs, the NHL where people are getting blown up and mangled left and right. It's just not everything is great. And so I do see pressure, the pressure to have content and not having a lot of great things to talk about. So we're just talking about news, like, hey, PSA's, backlog. It's not the kind of news we saw a year ago, right? A year ago, it was, a lot of exuberance about, the market and the cards themselves, and now it's like a much different place, right? And finally, the one thing I'm seeing more and more of is bargaining, like trying to say, hey, it's bad now, but the National is going to fix it. It's going to be the alpha and omega. This is what's going to fix this whole issue, the National. And once it happens, that's going to reinvigorate the marketplace. And yeah, that's kind of the post now. It's like everything's pointing to the National. And I will say this: the Dallas Card Show and the amount of content that came out of it from YouTube was hilarious. My joke I made on Enio's Northeast Ohio, his video was, the worst job in the world has got to be the cameraman following one of these narcissistic YouTube personalities around Dallas taking video. Well, we're going to see that all over the place at the National, right? You've got all these content creators that's going to go there and try to blow up the National like it's this major national event. And when in reality, it's sports cards. It's people trading photos, pictures of guys, on cardboard or acetate or whatever, material the card's made out of. It's not life or death, guys. But trying to blow the National up into being this ginormous thing that's going to fix the hobby woes is what's happening now, and that's the bargaining you're seeing now. And so I think after the National, if prices don't get better, and again, the other bargaining thing I'm seeing is it's football, and this new class is going to fix everything. It's football. And that's all I'm hearing is, that's going to fix everything. And if it doesn't, I think there will be this slow acceptance. I do think the hobby itself is going to be fine. It's going to be here long after these folks leave. But I do think you might see people leaving. Their channels might start changing. Content's going to be focused on other areas of collectibles. We're already seeing a lot of folks switching to comics, that were hardcore card guys. And they'll change to something else if that doesn't work out. I'm a good one to talk. I started this channel with the comics and cards. And so, I've always been there, and I collect both. I collect stuff that no one else likes. I collect the shit that nobody likes.
Fossilized poop.
I collect the stuff that, people think is dumb, and that's fine. I'm not a YouTube personality influencer that's going to tell you what to buy. I show you what I collect what I like, and that's it. And so I'm here to tell you like it is. We are in denial, anger, depression, bargaining, stages of grief, and I feel like the hobby's not going to fix it. At the National, the National's not going to fix the hobby. The hobby's fine. The people who are trying to make money and a career off this hobby by being influencers and personalities, they're in some stages of grief because it's not going the way they thought. So that's my thoughts. And this isn't a bust on any person, individual. It's just when you've got 400 people vying for the spotlight, it's going to eventually take some folks out. So I'm definitely not one of those. I'm definitely not an influencer again. I'm just here to give you my opinion, guys, and hopefully you find some humor in this. But I do think it's a serious thing in terms of just this hobby is going through some stages of grief, and I think everyone's on a different level. And I hope you guys are good. And if you go to the National, I hope you have a great time. Pick up some cool cards because at the end of the day, it's about the cards, guys. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye.